Einen wunderschönen guten Nachmittag, ihr Lieben. Ich befinde mich gerade im VIP-Bereich im SAP Garden. Hier ist es noch recht leer, aber ich bin nicht ganz alleine, denn neben mir ist für unser neues Format Wer bist denn du? Einer unserer Neuzugänge. Welcome, Ryan Murphy. Hi Ryan, how are you doing?
Good, settling in, everything's good.
Okay, so you had a good start in Munich?
So far so good, got my apartment, flew in, got a car. Still learning my way around the arena, but it's been great so far.
Cool. We always start with the first three questions are always the same for all the new players. Classic one, how did you get into hockey and what kind of player can we expect?
Yeah, I think I've got that first question a lot, how I got into hockey, and I have no idea. I'm a Canadian boy, and as far back as I can remember, I was playing hockey, and I knew at a young age that I wanted to be a hockey player for some reason. So I guess it's always been in my blood being a Canadian, and here we are. You know, 32 years old, still playing. So I think it was the right choice.
Probably no regrets. I think the right choice.
Oh, I've had some regrets, but not in hockey. Not choosing hockey.
What was your best moment in hockey so far, or your biggest achievement? It doesn't need to be an achievement, or your best moment ever in your hockey career so far?
Yeah, I think if you asked me that 2 years ago, it would be the cliche, my first NHL goal, which I got to have in Toronto, where I grew up with 50 people in the crowd with 6 games in, and we won the game, and one of my best friends scored in that game too on the Toronto Maple Leafs. So that was definitely a cool moment, but nothing beats winning, and I was able to join Red Bull Salzburg the last 2 years, and we got a couple championships under my belt, and that was probably the best feeling I've ever had.
Please don't stop that thing with the championships. We continue that. Just no problem.
I hope so.
And being a sports fan, probably, what was the biggest sports moment ever that you witnessed, either live in an arena or in front of a TV?
Probably, there hasn't been too many championships in Toronto recently. Some good teams, you got the Leafs, the Blue Jays, but the Raptors, most recently, the Toronto Raptors were able to bring an NBA championship back to Toronto, and for me to see the city, what it became after that was pretty cool. So that was probably one of the coolest things I've seen.
You grew up in Aurora, quite close to Toronto. Are you a Maple Leafs guy? And if yes, who was your favorite Leafs player growing up and why?
Yeah, I would say I'm for sure a Leafs guy. Even when I was playing in the NHL, I would still look at the Maple Leafs, see how they're doing, which is kind of weird looking back, but blue and white, right? So growing up, I did idolize a couple ex-Leafs. One of them was Brian McCabe. That's why I wear number 24. Not very similar players, but he had a hip check back then, and I always enjoyed the hip check, and he was my favorite defenseman to watch. And then we had a family friend, Chris King, his name was, played for the Leafs, played for Winnipeg, was the captain of the Jets actually. So having him growing up and kind of helping me throughout the way, guiding me, letting me know the ins and outs of pro hockey, that was definitely big.
I found something when you put Aurora into Google. What you get is Aurora is one of the richest communities in Canada, not only money-wise, but also in terms of education and natural resources. How true is that, and how was growing up in Aurora?
I think Aurora's changed a lot in the last 15 years as far as people coming in and people going out, and it is a beautiful town. It's got great schools, it's got a great community, and I always thought I would live in Aurora with my family. Unfortunately, those prices have soared a little too high, and but I still get back there. I have friends there, and it is a hockey town, and I did enjoy growing up there.
Cool. Something else, I also found something about you, and it was in Elite Prospect. There is somebody said in 2011, let me read it to you. Ryan Murphy, a fairly small defenseman with strong skating and impressive on-ice vision. Very creative with the puck, reads the game well, and really valuable on the man advantage. Has a quick release and excellent office skills. So is that true, or how much did your game maybe change over the years?
Yeah, I think it's descriptions like that I dealt with, for the first little bit of my career that kind of drove me to become more of a well-rounded player. I never liked reading that I was a one-sided defenseman or an offensive threat. I genuinely play the game to win, and I might excel in some areas more, but descriptions like that in my career is kind of what drives me to be a better player, and maybe one day a description will be Ryan Murphy, well-rounded defenseman.
Next question. You played great 176 games in the NHL. Which player in the NHL gave you the best advice, and who was the best or most skilled guy you played against?
Oh, I mean, it's a long time ago. I had a lot of guys who were, helping me out along the way. I had a roommate in Jeff Skinner that I lived with for a year. I lived with Justin Falk for a year, Elias Lindholm. So you pick up, little things throughout the way, but for the most part in those first few years of my NHL career, we were a very young team with, the majority of the players were under, 24. So it was tough. You had to kind of rely on each other and learn as you go. And of course there was older guys who were, giving you advice and helping you out, but at the end of the day it's pro hockey, and people expect you to be a professional, and people expect you to come to the rink and perform. So maybe one of the funnier things I've heard was, if you're going to be a man at night, you be a man in the morning. So that was a funny one that older guys would say a lot, but I've learned a lot, and I don't think this video can be long enough for me to talk about everything I've learned. Yeah, everybody at that level, you think you're the most talented, and you get to that level and you're like, oh wait, I'm
maybe
actually,
not the most skilled.
I'm actually not. So yeah.
But it's always important to recognize that, to be humble and to work, and that's 100%. Probably definitely. You won 2 titles with Salzburg, and your coach was Oliver David. Oliver David is of course also our new coach now. Do you maybe tell me and our fans, is there one thing that Oliver David incredibly loves as a coach, and maybe also something that he hates as coach?
Yeah, he loves to win, he hates to lose. But
easy one.
Other than that, with Oliver, he kind of breaks the barrier in the coaching world in a sense where I was used to growing up, where coaches, there's an intimidation factor and there's a sense of a separation between coaches and players, and I think Oliver has really come in, and at least in Salzburg, and it feels like you're together and you're in this together. You win together, you lose together, and it doesn't feel like if you have a bad game you're letting him down. He genuinely wants you to get through it and you're the best version of yourself. So I learned that about Oliver, and the best thing about him is he always wants to learn. He always wants to be better, and he's always looking for inputs from others, and he's not shy to ask a player what they think, and I really, I've enjoyed playing for him.
Cool. Yeah, looking forward to having. He's like a really, really nice person, and we're really happy to have him here in Munich.
He's a good person.
The rumor has it that you are very talented as well as passionate storyteller. How true is that? And can you maybe elaborate a little bit on that rumor? Like, have you ever always been a storyteller? Do you love to talk?
Yeah, I mean, if a scenario presents itself and I can relate with a story from the past, and I'll jump in, and yeah, I guess my descriptions and my stories are pretty good. But it's just, it's just me talking. It's just me wanting, each story has kind of a lesson and stuff I've learned, or, there's funny ones, stories I regret. But, I've played pro hockey for a while now, and, a lot of different teams, a lot of different players, a lot of different coaches. So I am fortunate enough to, have these stories. And my dad always tells me, you got to write a book, but I don't think they're that good.
First hockey career, then maybe the book.
Yeah, so. Maybe. It's funny because I never thought of myself as, a storyteller or a talker. I just try to be myself, and I guess the last 5 years that has been something that continuously comes up, and I don't know if I need to put tape over my mouth and stop talking, or if guys like the stories, but yeah, maybe I got a few more for the boys.
Yeah, everybody loves a good story. So it's already the last questions. I think we could go on for hours, but it's already the last one. Question number 10. Besides Philipp Sinn and Philipp Krening, you already know Chris de Sousa, Taro Hiroshi, and Toby Rida on our team. And I tell you now 3 different occasions or tasks, and you have to tell me who would you entrust with what.
Okay.
First occasion. Prepare and have a 5-course menu with your mom. Who would you entrust with that? Hirose, D'Souza, or Toby Reeder?
Yeah, that's a tough one. I wish I knew a couple more guys coming in. But, you know, I gotta imagine Seuss, he looks like a guy who can whip up some nice steaks. And Taro, maybe I'll let him do the dishes of that meal. But, and, you know, Toby, I've known Toby a long time, and his wife, and I'm sure they can whip up some nice German food. So I'm gonna go with Seuss.
Okay, you go with Seuss for that one. Okay, Chris D'Souza, 5-course menu for your mom.
Yeah.
Second test, who would be the best to build a log cabin with you in the Rocky Mountains with your bare hands?
I mean, I'm going to go off book here. I think before Dylan Hetherington signed, I was asked who I knew, and I actually knew Dylan Hetherington from before as well.
He told me, yeah.
So I'm hands down going to pick Dylan.
That's a good choice. He's a big guy. I think he can carry a lot of stuff, and I think he can definitely build a log cabin with his bare hands.
100%.
And last but not least, so we have two left. We have Taro Hirose or Toby Reeder for the last occasion. Organize your epic bachelor party in Las Vegas, if you still had one, of course, to come. Who would you entrust with organizing your bachelor party?
That's tough. I think I have to go with Toby. Yeah. Just because we were pretty close in our Kitchener days for 3 years there, and you know, he played in the NHL. He probably got to visit Vegas, and he's probably got some good connections. So I'll go with Toby.
He's from Landshut. That's quite close to Munich. Very Bavarian town, nice town, and I think he definitely it would be something. Hiking or going somewhere with the lederhosen. So I think it would be that kind of bachelor party. Okay, then I'm going to go with Taro. No, I think Toby would be also a good choice for that one. They'll both be invited. Yeah. That's it already, but I think we have a lot to talk about, and maybe we have a part 2 soon with more stories from Ryan Murphy. So for now, I say thanks a lot, Ryan. Awesome. Awesome to have you. Thanks for having me. And I wish you all the best and good luck here in Munich. And yeah, again, happy to have you. Appreciate it. Thank you. Und ihr da draußen, einen wunderschönen Nachmittag noch und wir sehen uns in Kürze. Ciao.